Hello everybody, hey, this is Mr. Brown, and today we're going to learn how to make water dragons. Now, for this project, you're going to need a couple more materials than usual. I recommend a marker. Sharpies are really good, especially if they got a good tip on them. A pencil with an eraser, and a pair of scissors. And of course, some sort of glue. Glue sticks are fine. I do prefer the liquid glue type, but glue stick will do in a pinch. Alright. So we are going to build this as kind of half drawing, half collage, which means we're going to draw stuff, then cut it out and put it on another drawing later. So for part one, we're going to start building the parts of our dragon. Now, we're going to make a water dragon that's swimming through the water, and you know, on our final version, the water dragon is going to kind of have a really big head up here, big head, and then there's going to be some body, and then a tail. Now, what we're going to do is, instead of drawing all that on a paper, which was fine, we're going to actually cut these out and actually let us to do some really kind of cool stuff with scales and with cutout stuff. So, what we're going to do is we're going to start out by drawing out the shapes of our dragon. And we're going to draw lightly. I'm going to draw a large circle for the top of the head, and onto that circle I'm going to kind of come out with a V like this, and then the bottom of the V I'm going to kind of draw a skinny rectangle, comes back to the circle, and I'm going to do a little fatter rectangle on top of the V. So skinny rectangle on the bottom of the V, fat rectangle on top, and again, we're not drawing this very dark because we're going to go over and add some more stuff to it. Then I'm just going to kind of add some gentle curves coming down. And now this is the skeleton of my dragon head. Alright, so this is part one, the dragon head. We're going to go in and we're going to need to add some eyes. And I like to add the eyes kind of as if they're on a line that comes back from the top of the circle somewhere in here. And I'm going to add two circles, kind of a smaller circle on the inside, a larger circle on the outside. And then I'm going to add kind of a big eyebrow ridge thing. It's kind of like a tube kind of going over that circle. For the bottom. Now, just like our fish, we can add some really cool details. We could add some cool details on like the lips, kind of bring those out here. Statues by having kind of the come out this way and have a little spiral. So it looks more like an Mayan or Aztec kind of creature. Adding designs into our animals is a really cool way to make them our own. So if I want to, I can kind of add a little ridge here. And that's pretty fun. Alright, so we're going to go in and we're going to plan out some scales. And the scales are going to go from the pointing away from the head. So what I mean like that is a scale like this, if you put a stick on the side, its arrow, it's pointing. So all the scales are going to point towards the tail. Okay, so I've got my basics on here. Now I have the chance to go in with my marker and add some cool details. And you can draw in details as you go. Like you can make some ridges on here. I don't have to follow my other lines 100%, and that's okay. Come in here and I can add an eye. I can add a little Pac-Man eye. Now, this stage is what comic book artists would call inking. You're just going over the pencil, but you don't have to 100% follow everything the pencil did. You can change things up. You can add other lines. You can add little patterns. You can add shadow behind this eye. Make it a little 3D. You can go in and really create a lot of cool effects. And so some of the things that we want to focus on while we're doing this marker stage is really creating lots of areas of black and white texture. Going in and adding cool shapes and patterns where we see them. Take your time on this. Really do your best job adding cool shapes and patterns. You could do something like this where you could add kind of scales that don't touch of just random sizes and color them in. And if they accidentally touch by accident, that's okay too. You can go in and you can add some spines. And if you accidentally have to do something that goes behind something else, or you can always just stop, pick up your marker, and then pick it up on the other side. And that creates a really cool look. So what I want you to do is go through, trace some of your lines, but also understand that you don't have to make every line exactly the same. You can kind of what we just call ink. So I want you to go ink your dragon, which means trace the lines you absolutely want to keep, ignore the lines that you don't care about, and add other things that make your picture stronger, that make your picture fun. So maybe I want to add some things, little shapes there, kind of make him look more like a spiky, spiny dragon. That's okay. I can change the picture any way I want to because I'm the one drawing it, and nobody can say anything different because it's my dragon, and your dragon is your dragon. You can add a little shading in here. Pro tip, if you add some shading on little lines like this underneath it, kind of makes stuff look like it pops out a little bit more. So if I kind of add a couple scales here and shade them a little bit more on the bottom than I do the top, makes them look just a little bit more 3D. So on this scale here, if I shade it really thick at the bottom and kind of thin it up, really thick at the bottom and thin, it really adds this cool movement and 3D effect. Alright, I can't wait to see what you come up with for yours. You can go ahead and stop the video now. Start working on your dragon, and part 2 will come up tomorrow.